I have a question for Chief Tinty regarding training. It's a training question, and a question that I think speaks to the heart of a lot of the controversy that's been going on around the nation, and was also alluded to regarding the guy reaching for his wallet, Diallo, in New York City, and he was killed with 47 bullets or whatever it was. A number of years ago, there was a bill that was kicking around. It was introduced by some state assembly people in New York City. It was called I forget exactly what it was called, but it addressed the shoot-to-kill policy, the use of lethal force, and they were trying to put forth a bill that would require police to actually wound rather than shoot to kill. And I believe it's actually now kicking around again. It's coming up, it's rearing its head because of a lot of nationwide attention. I know several European countries actually have a policy where they don't train to shoot when they're training to shoot for the heart. They train to shoot for other, to disable. What are your views on that?
I'm going to be completely honest. There is no such thing. There is no such training. No officer in this academy or any other academy in the state gets taught to shoot to kill. That is not the case. An officer in the capacity trained, both in firearms, use of force, and or otherwise, is trained to stop the actions of the perpetrator. If I pull out my gun at the same time that a gun is pulled on me, and I close my eyes because I'm scared, and I pull the trigger, and I hit the guy in the pinky, and he drops the gun, I'm done shooting at that individual. My job is complete, and the action of that bad guy has been done. There is no shoot to kill.
But how do we get into these situations where they fire 42 shots?
Because officers are taught to shoot until the actions of the perpetrator are ended. There is no magic bullet. Does it take one? Does it take 10? Right? That's the issue. So that's part of the training. So I want to make clear, as much as there may have been legislation, there's no way to carry that out. What we do in Kingston is we offer officers, and this doesn't apply just to Kingston, but to other agencies in the Ulster County area, Hudson Valley area, we offer the capability of using the taser as well. If the officer gets to a call and is able to discern whether or not a less lethal use of force is used, then a taser can be deployed. Ideally, and that's why part of it is, and someone in this area alluded to it, we met with members of the ACLU out of New York City to understand what is being taught, and I say taught, how the training is from the civilian end. One of the most important things is follow the commands of the officer. Sir, let me see your hands. Put your hands where I can see them. Put your hands up. And at that point, the hands go up. But if I keep them behind my back, the officer is starting to feel that this individual is more of a threat. Right? We train officers to see cover, concealment. There's a number of tactical movements that have to take place when there's a confrontation. The officer, as I mentioned in the last forum, is responsible to himself, to his other officers, and to his family to go home safe at the end of the night. But I don't want anyone to leave here at all and ever use that phrase, shoot to kill. There is no shoot to kill in law enforcement. We stop the actions brought upon us, right? That's the officers, when they show up, don't approach a car with the gun out. If there's a weapon drawn at that scene, it's because the actions of the driver or one of the passengers has caused that officer to pull his or her weapon. But there is nothing out there. I've never heard of any legislation. If I draw my weapon, we shoot for what we can hit. And if that means we hit him in the pinky and he drops the gun, then the mission has been completed and we make the arrest. But
I can send it to you.
If that's the case, and I have to tell you, to be completely honest, then someone has not been doing their research when this legislation was proposed.
There was a lot of controversy.
And I sound upset because it's true. We take training in this department and in this county very seriously. And I would put anything that we do in the city of Kingston and Ulster County at the forefront of any law enforcement training in New York and the East Coast. We far exceed the number of hours necessary. Some may argue we don't put enough hours in this program or in that program, but we always ask for more hours. But we're limited by budgets, we're limited by equipment. We are very fortunate, as the mayor alluded to have a great partnership with Ulster County Community College, and now at the former Sophie Finn building, we have the capability of having it right in the city of Kingston before it was located in the Business Resource Center. I invite any of you, or all of you, to show up. Our class is in session now. It's held in a public building. You talk about transparency in law enforcement, come watch the training. At the Business Resource Center, one of the requirements was that the door to the classroom was open. So if you wanted to sit outside the hallway and listen to what we did, there was no hidden secrets. It wasn't like when I went through the academy and we were located at 97 Broadway and the doors were shut once class started. That's not the case. The reason we like it in this public area is that because the recruits are mandated to wear a uniform with a name tag, and their conduct is observed in a public setting while they're in the academy. That speaks volumes of what we're trying to do.